Good morning, y'all. Today we're going to can up some zucchini and some squash. How about that? And if y'all hang around long enough, we're going to be making, or canning rather, some zucchini as pineapple and some zucchini apple pie filling. If you don't know this about zucchini is very versatile and it will take on the flavor of whatever you can it in. So we might have to add a little bit more to that, but we're cold packing this, okay? And I have water in my pressure canner up to the line, and I have my water back here heating up for my lids. I'll break them apart. All right, and I have water here. It's hot, but it's not boiling hot. It's not, because you don't want a drastic temperature change. I had it on low from your water into your cold jars, okay? So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna take, see, we got more jars here. I have, my canner will hold 7 quarts. So I'm gonna take a teaspoon, this is optional. You want non-caking salt. I'm using pink Himalayan salt. You can use Celtic salt, or you can use canning salt. My preference is pink Himalayan or Celtic. Whoop. All right. So all we have in here is just our zucchini, our squash. I got this recipe from Homestead Heart off of, let's get our water into our jars and get this process going. We are canning up our last jar. Not my last jar, but the last jar for this canner. No, I should have took a picture. I had some huge zucchini. One had just gotten away from me. All right. So we're leaving 1-inch headspace. We're debubbling. Very important if you have a solid to debubble. Get all the air bubbles out of there as much as possible. I might could put a little bit more in there. We'll see. It kind of felt a little hollow there on top. And this little tool will tell you your head spaces. So if it's 1 inch, it's right there to the first little thingy, first little step. So get it debubbled. I'm wiping with a dry rag. Now I'm wiping with a wet rag. There's nothing in here sticky. The only thing is I put salt on it, and so we don't want no granules of salt left on the top. Be sure before you start canning, check your jars, make sure there's no cracks, there's no bumps. I've had that. Buy a brand new jar and have a hump on it. This is finger tight. I use these 3 fingers, well, my thumb and 2 fingers. Just tight, just like that. Don't crank down on it because we want air to escape. Okay. So we have our pressure canner full of jars. That is 7. I try to make sure that my jars are not hitting the side of the wall of the canner. It's got a line in there of how full of water your canner is supposed to be. Mine's a little, it's just a hair over 3 quarts. Always make sure that you can, sorry y'all, put this up to your eye and make sure that you can see through. Make sure you can see the light. And can y'all see me? I'm gonna get up the light and I can see it. So my gasket is good. The little pressure valve there is good. So it has an arrow right here. And it's gonna connect to this arrow. So it's down. Now we're gonna twist it. I'm gonna crank the heat up all the way high. Now, always check your jars. I'll show this in most videos. Let's see if I can see that. I put an X on this one. There's a fracture crack. Not sure if y'all can see it, but it's a fracture crack. So always check your jars. Make sure there's no fractures on it. And so that's gonna come up to pressure. Now, always, if your product is cold, your water's cold, then your canner needs to be cold. You don't wanna shock your glass jars, because if you've got cold and you put it into a hot canner, or if you've got cold product and you put boiling hot water, this was barely lukewarm, was barely lukewarm, so I didn't want a big temperature change in my jars to shock them and then them bust. I have had that to happen. So I do know that it happens, but we want to be consistent. All right, we're going to bring this up to pressure. Once it steams for 10 minutes, I will, and y'all have got to order me another weight. One of these messed up, so I will show you. I thought I would show you. There it is. This little thingy came off, and it don't want to sit right after it came off. So see, it's supposed to go in there like that. So I've got to order, which I have 2. But the reason why I have 2, I have 2 canners and I can have them both going at the same time. So once this steams for 10 minutes, once it gets hot and pressure's steam's coming out and it's building up pressure, we're gonna put this on. Bring it to 10 pounds for my elevation. Y'all check to see what your elevation is. You can Google it. What is my elevation? So, and it will tell you. And then you can look in the ball canning book and see for your elevation how many pounds of pressure that you're supposed to be canning at. It's been venting for 10 minutes. And we're gonna put our little pressure thingy on. Now when that gets up to 10 pounds of pressure, we're gonna set our timer for 40 minutes and we'll be back. 10 pounds of pressure. Now we're going to set our timer and we'll be back. Okay, when our timer went off, I gently moved the pot over here on some pot holders. And now the pressure is at 0. Our little valve here is going down. I have taken a little weight off. I'm going to turn it gently. Okay, I had to have both hands So we're going to turn it and lift the lid away from you. So steam's going to come up and it's hot. Okay, we're going to take the lid off. And it's got water. Oh, it'd be pretty. All right, I'm gonna let them sit there for another 15, 20 minutes maybe, give or take, it doesn't matter. I just don't want it to change the temperature too quick. So we're gonna cool them down slowly. And the next morning, I did 3 canners. They all sealed. Now I'll take my rings off. And we're done.